Good day, everyone. All right, so today we're doing the Unit 2 study guide, and here we go. Find the value of x in degrees, then solve the measure of each angle. What types of angles are they to each other? All right, so we have these two right here. All right, so if we look at those, if we look at our hot topics, see how we're not leaving the train station? Like this is leaving the train station from here to here. So we're staying at the same train station, so it's going to be one of these three. So if we look at that, all right, so which one is it? So we're looking at these two angles, and that would be like this or like this. So it's one of those. So if I turn it this way, it looks a lot more like these. So these are called vertical angles. But Miss Holland, those are horizontal angles. Well, if you turn it this way, now they're not horizontal, they are vertical to each other. So these are vertical angles, and they are equal to each other. So, or if you were looking at this one, you notice that these two are both A. That means that they're equal. But in the end, it's still vertical angles. All right, so we're going to set those equal to each other. So we have 5x plus 4 is equal to 8x minus 71. We're going to subtract 8x from both sides. We get negative 3x plus 4 is equal to negative 71. We're going to subtract 4 from both sides. I'll zoom in a little more there. Oops, wrong way. Okay, and we get these crossed out. We're left with negative 3x is equal to negative 75. And we're going to divide both sides by negative 3, and we get x equals a positive 25. So now that we have that, zoom in out a little bit. So now that we have what x is, we're going to plug it back into the picture to double check it makes sense. All right, so here we go. And I'm only using this, so if you blink, you still see all my work. All right, so we do 5 times that 25 that we found for x. And we're going to add that 4. We pop out with 129. And over here, we get 8 times that 25 minus 71. And we also get 129. And that's what it was supposed to be. They're supposed to be equal to each other. So they're both 129. Okay, so we found those. In addition to that, this right here makes a straight line. So these two make 180 degrees, right? So 180, subtract that 129, this angle right here would be 51. And then down here, this would also be 51. And if you put all those together, that would make 360 degrees. 129 plus that 51 plus 129 plus that 51, all the way around a circle is 360 degrees. So now we should be able to answer their questions. Angle X was 25. Angle 1 was 129. Angle 2 was 51. Angle 3, 129. Angle 4, 51. So now, what kind of angles are 1 and 3? So here's 1, here's 3. So out of our choices, those are actually obtuse. Both of those right here, they're greater than 180. They're greater than 90 degrees. So that would be obtuse. Obtuse would be your best answer. So obtuse would be your answer. Okay, if you also asked for the relationship, that would be vertical. So that would be another possibility, but they're asking for the type, not the relationship. All right, let's go to number 2. All right, so on number 2, name the types of vertical, so name 2 vertical angles. All right, so bringing in our notes a little bit. All right, let's see. So for vertical angles, actually I think this would be probably better right here. Yep, that's a lot better. All right, so for vertical angles right here, vertical angles, these are vertical and these are vertical. So right here, those are vertical. So we could say 1 and 2. We could also say 3 and 5. That is another, so you could give me this one, or you could give me these two. So these are vertical angles right there. 4 is vertical to this blank one, but there's nothing there, so we can't use that. Supplementary are any angles that add up to 180. So we could say 3 and 4. We could also say 4 and 5, because together they make up a straight line. And so which makes 180 degrees. And then a linear pair would be those same ones. They have to be next to each other. So 3 and 4 or 4 and 5. Those are also, technically they're also supplementary, but the better answer would be linear pair. Now, what are we talking about? Why is supplementary and linear pair kind of different? Well, we'll get into these rules better later on, but 1 and 4, those are definitely a linear pair because they're right next to each other. They share a vertex. So they have to be adjacent to, they have to be right next to each other. Now, where supplementary is any angle that adds up to 180. So this angle and angle 5. So angle 4 and angle 5, if this was 80, this would have to be 100. Those happen to add up to 180 degrees, but they're not linear pair because they don't share a vertex, and that's a problem. So they have to both be adjacent to each other, right next to each other, making a rainbow of a straight line. So a pair of angles that make a line together. Yes, 4 and 5 share a line, they share a side, but they don't share a vertex. So they have to make a rainbow of a straight line, and this doesn't. So 4 and 5 don't do that, but 5 and 8 do, for instance. All right, so a lot of information right there. All right, let's go to number 3. All right, still on number 3. Love these right here. So if you, we're talking about parallel and perpendicular. So remember, there are 2 different ways how to do this. One way is you find the slope, which both these do. Step number 2 is plug it into the point slope form, which is right here, and then solve. Or you do these steps: find the slope, find the y-intercept, plug it into this equation. So this is way number 1, which is definitely allowed, or way number 2, which is what most of my students are going to be doing because it makes more sense to them. So that's probably what we're going to do today. All right, so here we go. So on this, step number 1 is find the slope. So what slope do we have right now? So step number 1, your slope. The slope that we have right now is 2. And we want the perpendicular slope, which means you have to flip the sign and flip the fraction. What sign do we have right now? A positive 2. What is the fraction? We need to make that a fraction, so just put it over 1. Okay, so now flip the sign and flip the fraction. If we flip the sign, that'd be negative. Flip the fraction, that'd be 1 over 2. And that right there is your slope. All right, step number 2, your y-intercept. For your y-intercept, you would have to, if you look at your notes, it says plug in your plug in everything else and solve for b. So we have y equals mx plus b. We're plugging everything else. This is my x and this is my y off of that point. So this would be 3 equals negative 1/2 your x. Our x was a 4 plus b. So we plug your x and your y and your m. All right, we get 3 equals negative times positive is a negative. 1/2 times 4 is 2 plus b. We would add 2 to both sides and we get 5 equals b. All right, your last step is write down the equation. All right, so your equation, we get equation. We get y equals mx plus b, where you only plug in your m and your b. So that'd be y equals, your m was negative 2x and your b was 5. But remember to always put that x there. That's the common mistake. And that's your final answer. Fabulous. Let's keep going. So that was number 3. Number 4. In this case, so we have parallel to this. So step number 1 is write down the slope. So our slope right now is 2. That is a positive 2 over 1. All right, so what is your parallel slope? Parallel slope means you have the same slope. So that right there would be just a positive 2 over 1 still. So our slope is just 2. That's the best way to write that answer. All right, next step, y-intercept. We have y equals mx plus b. We're going to plug everything else in and solve for b. So this is my x, this is my y. So we have 3 equals 2 times 4 plus b. That's 3 equals 8 plus b. I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. I get negative 5 equals b. Your final step, write down the equation. y equals mx plus b, where you only plug in m and you only plug in b. So y equals 2x minus 5. And that's your final answer. Fabulous. And that's the answer number 4. All right, number 5. So on number 5, identify the given. Okay, so this right here, this is y equals mx plus b, right? So what is your y-intercept, which is b, and that is 5. It's a positive 5. What is your slope of the parallel slope? So if our slope was a -2, or a -2 or 1, right? Okay, what would be your parallel slope? Your parallel slope would be the exact same thing. So that'd be -2 over 1, and the better way to write that is just -2. What would be your perpendicular slope? Well, you have to flip the sign, so that's a positive. You have to flip the fraction, so it's 1/2. So it's positive 1/2, and the better way to write that is just 1/2, because the positive is not doing anything. And that is the answer number 5. All right, number 6. All right, so for number 6, we have, all right, so for number 6, we have, this is A, this is B, this is C, and this is D. And to see this a little better, I'm just going to write, so here is the intersection here. That's where 0, 0 is. Just help that pop out a little better. Okay, so first of all, the undefined slope. Let's skip this one for a second. The undefined slope, that means that it's straight up and down. So that would be A, because, you know, cliff, right? So that would be line A. Now, what is the positive 3 over 4? So positive means it rises from left to right. So that's either going to be B or C. Those are your two choices. So B or C. So how do we decide if it's 3 over 4? Well, we have to have rise over run, and that's 3 over 4. So we have to have a right triangle that makes 3 over 4. So we have to pick points that we know that we hit. Now, this is an intersection, but it's not in the middle of a grid mark. So we have to pick points that are definitely in the center of a grid mark. So this is good right here. That's a good point right there. This one not good, not good, not good, not good. That should be good right there. All right, if we make a right triangle out of that, and I could do the bottom or the top, it doesn't matter. I could have made the right triangle down this way. That's totally fine. All right, we have a rise of 1, 2, 3, 4, and a run of 1, 2, 3. All right, so B has a slope of, B has a slope of a rise of 4 and a run of 3. That's not the one we want. Now let's try C. So let's see, this is a good point. And that looks good right there. That one's almost good. That one's the best. Or if I make a right triangle out of that one, that is definitely a 3, and that's definitely 4. That is, so C has a rise of 3 and a run of 4, and they're both positive. So C is the better answer, and that's it. You just had to pick out which one had that right slope. And that's the answer number 6. Number 7. Okay, so there's a couple different ways how to do this. So one way how to do this is mathematically. So mathematically is actually find the equation for this. So we find the equation. So let's do that. So if I find the equation, all right, so we need the slope. So I need to make a right triangle out of this. I'm just picking 2 points I know I hit. So this is mathematically. All right, so so first of all, what's your slope? Well, this is a positive slope, and it rises 3, and it runs 4. So positive 3 over 4. So that's my slope. Step number 2, the y-intercept. Well, I know I definitely hit the y-axis right here. And if this is 0, 0, that is at 2. So b equals 2. Your next step is to write down the equation. So the equation, y equals mx plus b. We have we're only plugging m and b, right? So that's y equals 3/4 x plus 2. So everyone can basically get to this point, and that's where things start getting a little more hectic. you need, first of all, we need to get rid of all the fractions. So we're going to multiply everything by 4 because we want to try to get rid of that denominator. So we're going to multiply everything by 4. And we're left with 4y equals these, this 4 and the 4 cross out, and that would be just 3x, and then plus 8. I would subtract 3x from both sides. I get negative 3x plus 4y is equal to a positive 8, and then we want the x to be positive in front, so just change all the signs. So it's positive 3x minus 4y equals negative 8. And so you could pick out your answer by that. Boom. All right, the other way to do this, we have multiple choice. Now I know my answer is D. I already know. But let's say we didn't know that. Pick a point that you know you hit. Now this one's a little easy. If I pick this point right here, that's I went over 0 up 2. That's my x, that's my y. So if I put that into here, I can narrow down my search. So 4 times 0 plus 3 times 2, which is my y. I'm just plugging in my x, my y. Did I pop out with 6? This one's still a possibility. How about 4 times 0 minus 3 times 2? Did I pop out with a negative 6? Ah, shoot. That is still a possibility. What about 3 times 0? I'm plugging in x and y plus 4 times 2. That's still a possibility. Oh no, this is not helping at all, is it? 3 times 0 minus 4 times 2. Okay, so right now the point that I picked ended up helping everything. We just need to pick another point. So I'm going to pick this point right here. That point is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let this be my x, let this be my y. So I'm using this coordinate, and I'm going to plug it in to here, and hopefully that'll narrow down my search. Let's see. 4 times 4, I'm plugging in that for x, plus 3 times 5. Did I pop out with 6? Nope. That one is definitely not it. All right, let's plug it in here. 4 times 4 minus 3 times 5. Does that pop out as a negative 6? Nope, it does not. So that's not the answer. So you see how I picked a different point to see which one works? All right, we have 3 times 4 plus 4 times 5. Nope, that didn't work either. So our final chance. 3 times 4 minus 4 times 5. Does that equal negative 8? That's the only one that worked. There you go. So those are two different ways how to do this. One is actually mathematically where you solve for it, or pick a point, see if you can knock any of these out. If that doesn't work, try another point and knock some more out. And there you go. So usually you can narrow it down. All right, that's the answer to number 7. Number 8. So number 8, we have EFH. So the angle is at F. Where did my picture go? Okay, oh, right there. Okay, so we have EFH. So EFH, that's this bottom one. That is 5x plus 1. We have HFG. HFG, that's this angle right here, is 62. And we have EFG, that's the whole shebang. That's 18x plus 11. All right, so we know this plus this equals a whole shebang. So 5x plus 1 plus 62 is equal to the whole shebang, 18x plus 11. All right, so if we do that, these are on the same side of the equal sign, do the same thing on RSS. So 5x is by itself, and a positive 1 and a positive 62 makes a positive 63. We are going to get all the x's on one side, so I subtract 18x on both sides, and I get a negative 13x plus 63 equals 11. That was a positive 11. We subtract 63 from both sides. We get negative 3x is equal to a negative 52. And then we're going to divide both sides by negative 13. We get x equals a positive 4. All right, every time you find x, you plug it back into the picture. So I'll show that real quick. We have 5 times 4 plus 1. We get that this is 21. This is already 62, so we leave that. And then 18 times 4 plus 11, and we pop out with 83. And does that work? Does 21 plus that's 62 equal 83? Yes, it does. So that's telling me I'm doing this right. So x was 4, EFH was 21, and EFG, which is the whole shebang, was 83. Awesome. And that was the answer, number 8. Let's go to number 9. Number 9. All right, this one's awesome. All we're going to do is figure out, is it acute, obtuse, right, or straight? All right, so acute means it's anywhere between 0 and 90. Right means that it is 90. Obtuse is anywhere between 90 and 180. And straight means it is either 0 or it equals 180. And those are your options. All right, so A is acute because it's between 0 and 90. B is obtuse because it's between 90 and 180. C is obtuse because it is between 90 and 180. And D is acute because it is less than 90. And that's answer number 9. Number 10. So these two make a rainbow. So here they share a vertex and they make a rainbow of a straight line. So that makes 180 degrees. So we have 11x minus 15 plus 5x minus 13 is equal to 180. 11 and 5 make 16x. Negative 15 and a negative 13 make negative 28 equals 180. We're going to add 28 to both sides. And you pop out with 16x equals 208. Divide by 16 and x equals 13. Once you get x, you always plug it in. So I'll show that part right there. Zoom out a little bit. We get 11 times 13 minus 15, and we pop out with 128. And over here, 5 times 13, subtract 13, we pop out with 52. And do those two add up to 180 degrees? 128 plus 52, yes. So that's telling me I'm doing this right. So your final answers, x was 13, angle 1 was 128, and angle 2 was 52. And that is the answer to number 10. Number 11. Oh, I like this one. All right. So Valentina is designing a park using the grid paper. She wants to build a sidewalk that connects to the fountain at 0, 1. It is perpendicular to the existing sidewalk that passes through this. So we want something perpendicular to these 2 points. Graph the line that represents it. All right, so we have this right here. This line right here. And we want something perpendicular to this line. So something that is perpendicular to this. That means it needs to be one of these. Anything that looks like this. And it has to go through 0, 1. So it has to go through this. So just follow your steps. Step 1, find your slope. So step 1, find your slope. So we know we have to go through this. So we need to figure out what our slope is right now. So our slope is made by this. And that is and you can't really see the lines, Maybe you want to regraph it with these coordinates. Okay, so that right there, that is 4 hops. And right here, that's 6 hops. So do we have a positive or negative slope? That's a negative slope. So we have a negative. Our rise was 4, our run was 6. Is there a prettier way to write that? Yes, there is. That is a negative 2 over 3 because we took 2 out of top and bottom. All right, so I'll zoom in here a little bit. All right, so what's the perpendicular slope? You have to flip the sign, that's positive, flip the fraction, 3 over 2. And that right there is our slope right now, a positive 3 over 2. All right, your y-intercept. Now, a bunch of us can now actually see that our y-intercept is going to be 1, but just in case you don't, just go through the motions. Y-intercept, y equals mx plus b. Plug in everything else and solve for b. So this is my x, this is my y. So that's 1 equals 3 over 2 times 0 plus b. 1 equals 0 plus b. Subtract 0, you get 1 equals b. And that's your y-intercept. Your final step, write down the equation. So y equals mx plus b, where you plug in m and you plug in b. So y equals 3/2 x, remember your x, and then plus 1. That is your equation. If you needed to graph that, we went through this point. Our new slope, so here's the y-intercept, our new slope was positive 3 over 2. So we go up 3, 1, 2, 3, to the right 2, 1, 2. You either go up or down, but always to the right. So you either go up or down, depending if it's positive or negative, and you always go to the right. So once you have this first line, just continue that pattern. Up, so up 3, 1, 2, 3, over 2, 1, 2. And we can do the undo buttons. Down 3, 2, 3, back 2. So as long as we have the starting of the points, we should be fine. So down 3, back 2, 1, 2. All right, so graph this line. And look at that. It's perfect. Perfection. All right, let's go to number 2, or 12. Let's go to number 12. All right, number 12. We have LMN, so at M, so it's either the left, the middle, the right, or a combination of those. LMN, so that's right here. This is 43. LMN, so the left, is equal to OMN, OMP, that's the right. So these two are equal to each other. So if this is 43, this would have to be 43 as well. What is this angle right here? So that's x. Those angles make how many degrees? Well, it makes a straight line at that vertex, a rainbow of a straight line. So we have 43 plus x plus 43 equals 180. That is x plus 86 equals 180. So 180 subtract 86. We pop out with x equals 94. And that's the answer to that one. All right, sweet. Number 13. So for number 13, they said that VTW is a right angle, so that makes it 90 degrees. They also said that in the beginning, STU, so this is a straight line. They were nice enough to tell us that. They also said that WTU is 38, so this is 38 right here. What is STV? So what's this angle over here? Well, together they make a straight line, right? So they make 180 degrees. So x plus 90 plus 38 equals 180. So 90 plus that 38, that is 128. We're going to subtract 128 from both sides, and we are left with x equals 52. And that was that answer. Number 14. So on number 14, they said, they were nice enough to say that CG bisects angle G. So G got cut in half. So this angle equals this angle. Those are equal. That's what the double angles mean. So they said BGC, that is 7x minus 2. They also said CGF, that is 8x minus 8. So these two angles are equal to each other. So let's do it. So 7x minus 2 is equal to 8x minus 8. Set them equal, solve. So subtract 8x from both sides. We're left with negative 1x minus 2 is equal to negative 8. I add 2. I have negative 1x is equal to negative 6. Divide by that negative 1, and I'm left with x equals a positive 6. We're going to take that, and we're going to plug it back into the calculator. Zoom out a little bit. All right, so we have, 7 times 6 minus 2, this angle is really 40. 8 times 6 minus 8, that's also 40, which is awesome because they were supposed to be equal. So we have the left, the right, and we really also have the whole shebang, which is what they wanted. They wanted B, G, F. They wanted all of this. So if they want all of that, that would be 80, and that's what they wanted. So did they want the left, the right, or the whole shebang? They wanted the whole shebang. The final answer was 80. And that was the answer number 14. Last problem, number 14. Sorry, number 15. We're on number 15 now. They said that CH bisects GCD, so GCD, so all of this got cut. So that means this is equal to this. They also said that GCF is 4x plus 3, and they said GCD, that's the whole shebang, is 10x minus 10. So this line right here is just messing with us. Just ignore that line. That line is not doing anything to us. All right, so we know the left side is 4x plus 1. We know that's equal to this other side, so that would also be 4x plus 3. Sorry, I said 1 earlier. 4x plus 3 and 4x plus 3. So we're going to, setting these equal does not help, because that would be like 2x equals 2x, that 0 equals 0. That doesn't help. So we're going to do this plus this equals the whole shebang. So we have 4x plus 3 plus 4x plus 3 equals 10x minus 10. And now we're just to solve. 4x and 4x make 8x. 3 and 3 make 6 equals 10x minus 10. Subtract 10x from both sides. We get a negative 2x plus 6 equals negative 10. Subtract 6. We have negative 2x is equal to negative 16. I ran out of room, so I'll put it up here. Negative 2x is equal to negative 16. Divide both sides by negative 2. X equals 8. So I have x. I want to make sure this is correct, so I'm going to plug it back into the picture. Zoom out a little bit. There we go. We have 4 times 8 plus 3. That's 35. If I do it again, that's still 35. And if I put in here 10 times 8 minus 10, that is 70. Does this plus this equal the whole shebang? Yes, it does. That's telling us that we're right, and that is your final answer. And those were the answers to the study guide. I hope that helped you out. Have a great and wonderful day.